So in this video, I'm going to tell you how to get past what we call the awkward stage when you're growing your hair out. Very short video. I want to keep this to the point because there's not really much to this other than the few things I'm going to share with you. So firstly, as you can see, I do have long hair myself. This took me about 1.5 years to grow, probably a bit less. I actually did cut it recently. I took off about this much just to sort of trim off any split ends that I couldn't see. I didn't notice any, but yeah, so here's what you do, right? The awkward stage, as you probably know, at a certain point, you'll get to the point where your hair is long enough that it gets in your eyes, it gets annoying, okay, it flaps around in the wind, but it's also too short to tie up into a ponytail or a man bun. This stage can last anywhere from 6 months to 1 year or more. It really depends on how you treat your hair, but what it can be defined as is very awkward and annoying. This stage is known as the awkward stage because it's so damn annoying to go through and to wait for your hair to be long enough to actually tie it up and, you know, properly have it looking good. So how can you get past the awkward stage? Well, the first obvious thing is to wait it out and be patient. Now, that's easier said than done. You can also wear a hat. So I've noticed a lot of people, what they'll do, they'll just live in a beanie, but they'll just live in a hat for 1 year. This is partly what I did. However, I was actually, during the peak of the awkward stage, I was in Asia for 3 months, traveling through Cambodia, Vietnam, Thailand, in very humid, hot conditions. So I wasn't really able to wear a hat. So I had to actually be creative. And I ended up using like a thin, elastic kind of hairband, not like the hairbands I'm wearing now, but like a headband, which tennis players often use. You know, it goes around your head, it keeps your hair out of your eyes, but it's not too hot. You know, it's not going to keep you too hot like a hat would. So that kind of worked, okay? Another thing you can do is you can just try and figure out a way to style it. The problem with styling it is that if you're going to be putting product into your hair, for example, what a lot of people will do is they'll kind of slick their hair back during the awkward stage with a lot of product. The problem with that is it just makes your hair greasy, and in general it's just going to be horrible to maintain that, because it means not only will you have to buy and use a lot of product, but you're also going to then have to wash that product out more often. And one of the things I recommend in my other video actually for tips on growing long hair is to actually not wash your hair often, to actually wash it like once a week or so, to allow your hair to grow faster. Because every time you get your hair wet, you're weakening it and you're breaking hairs away that otherwise would have lasted another potentially 6 months or more. So really you want to basically get your hair wet as infrequently as possible, as little as possible. So especially if you want to get through the awkward stage as quickly as possible, what I would advise you to do is, if you can, just live in a hat or a beanie or something, wash your hair once a week at the most, and just sort of stick it out. Don't go using excessive product. Don't trim it to, you know, cut the split ends off or anything like that. Leave it to grow. Don't cut or trim it. Wear a hat and try not to wash it very often. If you do those things, you should get past what we call the awkward stage quite quickly. More quickly than you would have done otherwise, I would say. However, this kind of goes against what a lot of people are suggesting on YouTube, and that is to find a hairstyle that works during the awkward stage. To be honest, there isn't really one that works perfectly. Every hairstyle that you try and do when your hair's in this awkward stage of growing out, it's going to look terrible. In most cases, the vast majority of cases, it's going to look bad anyway. However, what I would say is that now we're in lockdown. No one's leaving their houses. No one is going out really to socialize that much. I mean, you might be going to work, but other than that, you're at home, most of you. So this is the perfect time to not care how your hair looks, grow it out into a man bun, grow long hair, and get past the awkward stage pretty quickly.